Okay, so let's start on our backs. And then just start with your knees bent, take your feet wide, and then just allow your knees to knock in towards each other. So you're just getting a little release in the lower back. And then take your arms, just play with what feels good here. So kind of straight up Shavasana might be nice. Sometimes it feels good to come into cactus arms. You'll get a little more stretch on the inseam of your arm. But wherever you're at, just make sure that you start to feel your shoulder blades releasing down into the earth. And then find some nice deep inhales. And then full, complete exhales through your mouth. So just kind of landing on your mat, triggering this idea that you're going to take the next hour to check in, pay attention to your body, to how things are feeling, pay attention to your breath, to your headspace. And as you're taking those inhales and those exhales through your mouth and letting any tension in your body just release, start to feel your bones really heavy in the mat underneath you. Maybe start to feel a stretch across the backs of your shoulders. And then just maybe imagine that your sit bones are spreading apart a little bit, so you're widening across that lower back. Notice if there's any grip in the inner thigh, release there. Are you holding tension in your neck? See if you can make the neck a little bit longer, the back of the neck, so it might feel like you're very gently just tucking your chin towards your chest. Good, and then we start to find the rhythm of our Ujjayi breath. So that inhale through your nose, you're creating a soft rush of air in the back of your throat, and also an exhale through your nose. So same thing there. Just channeling your inner Darth Vader on this Halloween. Allow that sound of your breath to really draw you in. So all of the sounds happening around you, they just kind of melt into the background. They're there, but it's almost as though they become imperceptible. And just quiet background noise. We're going to be here another moment or two, so just soaking up this quiet. This can actually be a really hard thing to do. We always think we need to be figuring things out, planning ahead. So resist that urge. Give yourself permission instead to be still and quiet. Good, deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. And then blink your eyes open. Start to walk your feet so that they're hips distance apart, so your knees are landing over your ankles. Edges of the feet are parallel with the edges of the mat. You can just check to see that that's happening. So if anything, give yourself a little more space here. Sometimes we bring the heels a little too close to the buttocks, and that can put a little pressure on the knee. We're going to come into a nice, just simple, easy, I shouldn't say easy, it might not be, but a little hip stretch here, reclining hip stretch. So you're going to take your right ankle, cross it above your left knee, flex that right foot a lot, and then just take your right hand and gently press. You might not have to press very much at all, but trying to create a little space in this lower right waist. And then you're going to feel a lot of things here. So hips are tight for most of us anyway, especially early in the morning. Keep breathing and really send your exhale to that lower right hip. Just imagine it creating some space and ease. These look good. And you're welcome to stay here like this. If you feel like you have a little further to go this morning, start to bend that left knee into your chest. And you can try it. And if it doesn't feel good, you skip it. But then you reach your hand through that triangle you've made with your legs, interlacing fingers around either your thigh or your shin. And then you can gently pull in a little bit there. And again, if you want a little more, you can start to wedge that right elbow into that right thigh. So again, just pressing forward. That might not be necessary, but you can play around. You can always try things and then back out. That's hard to do sometimes, but it's a good way to sort of explore where we're feeling on any given day. Just notice what's going on with the poses. Both of those hip plates are pressing to the mat underneath you. So your back is pretty flat here, except for maybe you could slide a pencil underneath the lower back, but you are extending that tailbone forward, and that's going to help you to get a little more stretch as well. If you've lost the breath, come back to it. So that inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. Good deep inhale. As you exhale, go ahead and release that side, uncross your right ankle. So just find that nice bridge pose setup. And then you take your left ankle above your right knee, flex the foot a lot. So we want to engage those muscles around the knee to keep it safe and protected. It's this big joint. And then left hand to left thigh, gently pressing forward. And then right away, notice, how does this side feel different? So get curious about that. This is one of the things I love about the yoga practice, is that we're always like taking stock of things. We kind of become scientists, observers of our body, and that starts to transfer to other areas, but it's really tangible here in the physical shape. Listening to that inhale through your nose and that exhale through your nose. If you'd like to go a little deeper here, start to bend your right knee into your chest, interlacing fingers around thigh or shin, maybe wedging that left elbow, just to help you draw that left knee slightly forward, creating space in that lower left waist. Sending your breath to the tight places, using it as a tool to help open things up. Looking good. Couple more good breaths here. And take a nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, release. And then go ahead and find your strap here. And we're just going to do our reclining hand to toe series here on the mat, which feels really nice. So you're going to take your strap around the sole of that right foot. So it's a little below the bridge, slightly above the arch. So top third of the foot for sure. And then you're going to take one strap into each hand. You start to extend that leg to straight. So you don't have to pull the leg in very far here. We're just going to keep the ankle over the hip to begin with. And a lot of the same actions that we just had in the pose we just did, that reclining pigeon. So back of the body is pressing nice and even. Shoulder blades are heavy. The strap is great here because we can come down as far as we need to so that we can feel those shoulder blades press into the mat. And even here, maybe you just take your right thumb into that hip crease and gently pull forward. So we are trying to find space in the lower right side of the body. And then play with extending your left leg to straight on the mat. So as you go there, it might not feel good. You might get some tension in your lower back. If that's the case, go ahead and bend that knee again. Otherwise, stay here. And then I want you to imagine that you're standing on both legs. So both legs are in neutral rotation here. They're doing the same thing, even though they're facing opposite directions. And then you might even feel your outer hips squeeze in towards each other a little bit. Those inner thighs squeeze in. As that begins to happen, maybe you notice that your lower belly pulled in and up. And then from here, take both straps into your right hand. Place your left hand on top of that left leg if that leg is extended. Otherwise, you can do that even if the leg is bent. And you're just reminding that left hip plate underneath you to keep pressing evenly into the mat. We don't want it to lift up here. As you exhale, start to take that right leg off to the right any amount. And you'll know when you've gone far enough, you'll either feel a really intense stretch, and some of us don't have to go very far at all. So that's cool. That's your spot. If you're a little more flexible, you might have to engage the muscles a little more. Nice. And then just again, be mindful to keep the backside of your body pressing evenly. And you're breathing, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. And you might even, I always notice like this can hurt the hands a little bit. You kind of get the death grip. So you have to hold on, but see if you can do that with a sense of relaxation in your hand. Couple more good breaths. Good. As you inhale, start to bring that leg back up to center. Take both straps into your left hand. And then bring your right arm out in a T shape, palm facing up. And then we're going to start to find the twist here. So you're going to start to extend right leg to the left. Your hips might actually start to stack on top of each other. So it's okay if that right hip plate lifts up here. It might not. And then you're probably feeling lots of sensations. Can you still try to draw that right hip forward? Imagine that your thumb is pressing into that hip crease. It's subtle, but we're moving in that direction. We're trying to create space. Both shoulder blades pressing evenly. So that might mean that you have to back out a little bit. So for a lot of us, that right shoulder blade, especially if we're tighter in the shoulders, starts to lift up. And then here you could be looking up at the ceiling, or you could start to roll onto your right cheek. So looking out over that opposite arm. And that's going to stretch out the left side of the neck a little bit. Good work. So this is an intense stretch. Usually it's kind of a hurt so good. This is really good for the spine. Really good to kind of just stretch out all of those big muscles that attach in the trunk area. So good for sciatica. But as you inhale, come back to center. So that original place, feel the back of your body pressing nice and even here. And then I want you to just bring your right big toe towards your left shoulder head. So it's hardly a movement at all. And this is going to be a super intense stretch. It will catch your breath. Keep the breath moving. Feel all the feels. Good, and then come back to center. Just release the strap from that right foot. Give both knees a squeeze into your chest. Check in, notice how you feel here. So usually after I do this sequence, it feels like I just grew an inch on that right side. There's a little more space, a little more ease. So enjoy that sensation and let's even it out. So just finding that bridge pose set up again. Ankles underneath your knees, and then grab your strap and we set up on the left side. So a little bit below the bridge of the foot, slightly above the arch. So we're definitely not in the center of the foot, kind of the upper third. And then you take one strap in each hand, start to extend that leg to straight. It's okay if there's a little bend in that knee, especially if hamstrings are tighter. Right away, you're observing how this side feels different in your body. You're coming down as far on the strap as you need to so that you can have both shoulder blades pressing heavy. So the back side of your body, that's your base here. Everything's pressing down nice and even. If you would like to start to extend that right leg to straight, you can try it. Sometimes it just feels like too much. Wherever you're at, they're both doing the same thing. They're both really good. So the tricky thing, if that leg is extended, is to just remember to keep those toes pointing up. So you're imagining that you're standing on both legs, even though they're facing different directions. We're laying down. And then both straps come to your left hand. Take your right hand on top of that right thigh. You're encouraging, reminding that leg to stay really active. As you exhale, you start to take that left leg off to the left, being mindful not to let that right hip plate pop up off the mat. Sometimes in this pose too, a nice little trick is to slide a block or a blanket underneath that left thigh, especially if this pose is a little more challenging. Check in with face and jaw, make sure it's soft and released, maybe even a little smile, even though this is intense. Couple more good breaths here. And then we're going to inhale up to center. Take both straps into your right hand. Left arm comes out in a T shape. Anchor down into that left shoulder blade. So we really want to root there as we start to make our way into the twist. So hips might start to stack on top of each other. They might not go there. That's fine. Keep pressing this left hip forward. It's harder to find here, but you can even take that left thumb in that hip crease really quick if you just want to kind of manually manipulate your body, see how that feels. And then maybe you're looking up at the ceiling. Maybe you're starting to roll onto your left cheek, looking out over those left fingertips, stretching into the right side of the neck, getting into those scalene muscles, which is intense, but also feels good. This looks nice, guys. Breath smooth and steady, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. Thinking to yourself, well, this particular torture is almost done. As you inhale, come back to center. So where we started, that original position, ankle over heel. Tiny movement, we're not done yet. Left big toe towards right shoulder head. You don't want to cheat yourself of this one. You might want to, but I don't want to cheat you. All right, so noticing how this side is different, trying to keep the back side of your body pressing evenly. So letting that left hip plate release down to the mat. That might mean that you have to back out a little bit. And then just wondering, how can this feel so intense? I've hardly moved my leg at all. That means you're doing it right. All right, so go ahead and come back to center. Lose the strap. Hug both knees in. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Good, and then your choice. So you can start to roll forward and back on your spine. Sometimes that feels good. You just massage it out, eventually rolling all the way up, or you can roll off to one side or the other. We're gonna come to our tabletop. Nice. And let's start to move a little bit. So let's start to find our flow, our vinyasa. So setting up for your cat-cow, shoulders over wrists, fingers spread more than feels natural. So just think that your hands are duck feet and you're trying to stretch out that webbing between the fingers. And then knees are underneath your hips. As you inhale, press down into your hands, chest pops forward through the gates of your shoulders. So you're thinking cobra in your upper body, looking forward, good. As you exhale, go the opposite direction, press the mat away, let the back of your neck lengthen and release. And you know this good. So you begin to move with your breath. You find a pace that feels good this morning. And every time we get on our mats, it's a little bit different. Some days we just naturally move a little faster. Some days we slow it down. So explore that, honor that. Mostly pay attention to your spine here. How are things feeling? Where is it easy to access the movement? So as we come into this cow stretch, for most of us, it's in the lumbar. As we press into the cat stretch, we're trying to get into that thoracic. Most of us are pretty tight in the upper body, the shoulders, so that can be a little trickier. And then also just observe how nice it feels to move with the breath like this. So connecting the movement with the breath. It starts to feel like this moving meditation. It has this calming quality. It introduces this rhythm into our body. And I think that we're very rhythmic creatures. I think we're designed to move probably more than most of us do. So physically doing this just makes the brain happy. All right, couple more rounds. Go ahead and come back to a neutral spine. So fingers spreading, pressing evenly. You're going to keep your gaze an inch or two in front of your fingertips. Let's reach our right toes back on the mat, curl them under. So that leg is in plank pose. You're feeling that inner right thigh spiral up towards the ceiling. We're going to roll to the inner edge of the foot, and then just make sure that that left wrist is underneath your left shoulder. Start to come up onto your right fingertips, seal into the back edge of that right foot, and then we come into our little modified Vashisthasana. Your shoulder blades stack on top of each other. Good. You got it, Dad. Definitely a big balance pose. Your gaze could be down, it could be forward, you might be looking up. As you inhale, I want you to try to lengthen through the left side of your body so it's getting a little longer. And you're also spinning those left ribs up, so there's a little bit of twist here. Beautiful. As take one more deep inhale. And then as you exhale, unwind. Come back to your tabletop. Take a couple rounds of your cat-cow just to let that side go. And then inhale, come back to neutral. So spine is nice and flat. So we want to keep that feeling as we come into this Vashisthasana side plank pose. Pull your belly in and up, like from deep. Just to give you some core support here. Reach those left toes back. So fire up that leg, like really start to squeeze and energetically use all of those muscles. Roll to the inner edge of that foot. And you want to see that your right toes are intersecting the arch of that foot that's extended back, that left foot. And then maybe you start to press into the back edge of the foot. That's going to help with your balance as well. Right shoulder stacking over right wrist. We start to open up. So we have triangle pose in our upper body. We have plank pose in our body. Your shoulder blades stack on top of each other and you keep breathing. And if you fall out, it's no big deal. This is how we get good. These look nice. You look like synchronized swimmers there. Maybe challenge your balance a little more by playing with your gaze. So perhaps start to look forward if you're looking down. Maybe you start to look up at that top thumb. Inhale, lengthen through the right side of your waist. Grow it longer. And then as you exhale, twist those right ribs up towards the ceiling, just a hair. Nice. As you exhale, unwind. Come back to your tabletop. Couple rounds of cat-cow. Just letting that go. And then inhale, come back to your neutral spine. Walk your hands forward an inch or two. And then we're going to shift our shoulders over our wrists. We're going to keep that plank feeling in our body, even though we're on our knees. As we exhale, elbows bend an inch, two, no more than shoulder heads in line with elbows. Keep squeezing the elbows in, shoulder heads lifting. Inhale, press up. It's a little baby chaturanga just to build some heat. Quick here. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. You just keep your gaze forward. Exhale, lower. We're going to do this for like 10 minutes. No. Exhale, lower. Good. Inhale up. Exhale, lower, hover. Hold here. Keep lifting your shoulder heads. Feel those shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other. Breath smooth and steady. Are you gripping your toes? Soften them. And then in one piece, land on your belly. Lengthen back through all 10 toes. And so press now with your fingertips underneath your shoulders. But then I want you to lift your hands up off the mat. Squeeze the elbows in. In fact, let's go the opposite direction. So wing your elbows out as far as you can. Do like the funky chicken dance. As you do this, notice how the shoulder heads start to dump. We start to lose that beautiful lift and lightness in the chest. Now squeeze them in towards the midline. Notice how the shoulder heads lift. You can feel the backs of the shoulder blades squeezing in towards each other on your back. So we're going to stay like this. Begin to roll a little bit to the outer edges of your feet. So moving into our low cobra without using our hands. So as you exhale, you lower down, inhale up, and you're really generating this pose by using the strength of those back muscles. And even as we're strengthening here, we're also finding length. So I want you to think tailbone directing towards heels. Few more, just moving with your breath, that little vinyasa. Good. So the next time you come up to your inhale, just hold there. And then go ahead and place your palms back down on the mat. Keep them planted exactly where they're at, but feel as though you're going to drag the mat back towards your heels. Maybe you get a little more extension and lift. It's a beautiful back bend, builds a lot of strength, which we need for a strong core, and we tend to overemphasize the front of the body. We need more of this back of the body work. Okay, so from here, press to your tabletop. Curl your toes under. First downward dog of the day. And today, go ahead and fidget around a little bit. So just find some movement that feels good. You might shift your heels a little bit from side to side. Pedal back and forth. I always love to flip onto the top of one foot. This is really intense, yummy stretch on the front of the foot. And then you can switch sides. When you've really got the sauce, you can do both feet at the same time. I think that happens once in a blue moon, which it happens to be today. A Halloween blue moon. It's been 76 years since there was a full moon on Halloween. All right. From your downward facing dog, start to find a place of stillness. Little bend in the knees is really nice. It helps you to stretch your sit bones up towards the ceiling, get lots of length in your spine. And then from here, just start to walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Little standing cobra. So I think today to start, let's press hands into shins or thighs. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Even here, there's that idea of your elbow squeezing in towards the midline. Exhale, fold in, let the back of your neck lengthen and release. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold in. As you're doing this, get curious about what's happening in your feet. Do you have the death grip on the toes? Soften there. Feel the arches lift instead, and you're moving with the breath a few rounds. Good. So the next time you fold in, stay there. Take a bend in your knees, grab opposite elbows. So just hanging forward, and then let your neck go. So nod your head, yes. And then nod your head, no. Change the cross of your arms. And then just sway a little bit side to side. So it's like your arms are an elephant trunk. Good, and then fingertips releasing down to the mat with that bend in your knees. Roll on up. When you get there, roll your shoulders back. Good, and then just allow your shoulder blades to release down your back, standing nice and tall. Let's take our arms out wide here, palms facing forward. So keep the tailbone directing down, sternum reaching up. We're gonna give ourselves a hug, right arm on top. So elbows stack here. You can just hold on to the backs of your shoulders. So lifting elbows, but feeling shoulder blades release down towards your tailbone. You're gonna feel a little stretch in the arms. If this is enough, you stay here like this. Maybe you can bring the backs of your hands together. Maybe you can reach around, press palms. So they're all good variations. They're all doing the same thing. Keeping breath smooth and steady. So just getting into the shoulders, which feels really good. Nice. So our garudasana, eagle arms. Couple more breaths. Deep inhale. As you exhale, release the arms out to the side. And then notice if the shoulders have crept up around the ears, soften them down, and then we go to the opposite side. So left arm on top. Elbows stacking and lifting. So this can be really intense here. So it's a good place to be if you're feeling the sensations. Otherwise, maybe backs of hands start to press. Maybe you can press palms. And then we're moving towards lifting the elbows up As we direct the shoulder blades down towards our tailbone, tailbone is releasing towards the earth. It's like you're being stretched in opposite directions. These look good. You both have a nice little mountain pose here. How is this side different in your body? Good. When we're deep, inhale. And then as you exhale, let the arms go. Release them by the side. Ooh. And let's start to flow a little bit. So finding your nice mountain pose, just glance to see that feet are hips distance apart. You are welcome to stand with feet closer if you kind of want to, if you feel balanced there. Just want to have second, third toe pointing forward. So that's nice alignment. And then the natural tendency is to just kind of puff the chest forward, push the booty back, lengthen it down, stretch the sternum up. So you're channeling your inner ballerina dancer, and we're going to start to move. Arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, hands on shins or thighs or fingertips on floor, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, release your hands by your side. Let's do it a little different this time. So this time, inhale, stretch arms forward and up. So it's a little different work in that shoulder girdle. As you exhale, dive forward so hands can come to heart center and then release. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhaling, folding in. And then the same thing, press into your feet, but stretch your arms forward with a nice flat back. Come on up. Exhale, hands come together at your heart. So we have 3 more of those, and you can play with whatever arm variation feels good. You can mix and match. I always love taking my arms wide. I just think it feels really good. But sometimes it can be nice to do different things. And again, you're just finding a pace here in your body that feels good as you connect that movement with your breath. I challenge you not to smile here. I think it's impossible. Sun salutes feel good. So that was really a fake challenge. Go ahead and smile as you're doing this. Beautiful. All right. So pressing evenly into your feet. We're going to come into a quick little chair pose. We're going to just flow a little bit. So this might feel like a good place to have your feet a little wider. Try to hold on to all the same actions that we have in our Tadasana. Tailbone releases, sternum reaches up. It's almost like you're tucking your tailbone ever so slightly. So it's trickier as we start to bend our knees to keep that. All right, so we're just gonna flow a little bit here. As you exhale, fold in, reach your arms by your side like you're bombing down a ski hill. Inhale, back into your chair. Exhale, slowly press your legs to straight. Inhale, knees bend. Exhale, reach arms back by your side, find length. Inhale, back into your chair. Weight is mostly in your heels here. Inhale, press legs to straight, couple more. Oh, exhale, sorry. Inhale, knees bend. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, back into your chair. Good, exhale. Press your legs to straight. One more. Inhale, knees bend. Exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Good. Inhale, back into your chair pose. Beautiful. Exhale, press your legs to straight. Inhale, knees bend. Oh, you're like, you said we were done. All right, shift your weight into your right foot. Just lift your left foot up off the mat an inch. See if you can sink a little lower. You can have your arms as wide as you need to here. Place that left foot down and then lift that right foot up. Feel your belly pull in and up as you direct your tailbone down. Nice. Place that foot down. Exhale, sink a little deeper. And then slow, slow, slow. Inhale up to standing. Release your hands by your side. Close your eyes. Slow the breath down. Feel the heat that you've built in your body, so that feels nice. Good work. And then blink your eyes open here as you inhale, starting to flow a little more. As you inhale, arms reach up. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So keep looking forward here. Plant your palms as you bend your knees, step your left foot way back. Lower onto that left knee. Inhale, rise up, low crescent. And we're trying to stack the shoulders over the hips here. And you're gonna be feeling this nice stretch in that right or left hip flexor. Good, take your arms out wide, palms face forward. And again, make sure that the shoulders don't creep up around your ears. Feel that lower belly pull in and up. As you exhale, just start to twist to the right any amount. As you do that, notice if you start to roll to the outer edge of that right foot, keep pressing to the inner edge. Maybe you start to gaze out over your right fingertips. These look really good, and I'm not even lying. Think outer hips squeezing in towards each other. Good, deep inhale. As you exhale, start to unwind, so come to face forward. Inhale, arms reach up. Press palms perhaps, maybe gaze up. Good. As you exhale, release your hands down. So curl those left toes under. See if you can keep your hips this low. Step to your plank pose. It's a hard move. Shift forward on hands, come to knees. As you exhale, lower chaturanga. Pause there a moment, then onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. You might have to pick it up and move it forward. So we want knee over ankle. Inhale, rise up into that low crescent. So try to bring your shoulders back over those hips, that right hip. Feel that big stretch here in the hip flexor. As you exhale, hands come to the side, palms face forward. Deep inhale. Press to the inner edge of your left foot. Feel the outer hip squeeze in. As you exhale, start to twist. And you can just be looking forward. You can start to look to the side. Maybe you look out over that left thumb. Focus on your inhale here. So you're trying to fill up. It's really hard as we come into these twists. Nice work. And there's definitely a little balance happening here. So you're noticing how your body works to keep you upright. Deep inhale. Exhale, unwind, come back to center. And then inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Beautiful, maybe gaze up. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Plant them. And then you're gonna curl your right toes under. This time we're gonna step our right foot to meet our left foot at the top of the mat. Good, inhale, chest lengthens forward. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch your arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your hearts. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So keep looking forward, bend your knees, plant your palms. This time, step that right foot way back, and we're gonna stay on those toes. Perhaps walk your left foot off to the left a little bit so you're not on a tightrope. Find a bend in that right knee that's gonna help you to direct your tailbone down as you rise up into your full crescent. See, we have this nice deep 90-degree bend in this front leg. Maybe you start to straighten that back leg. You're gonna feel more stretch on that hip flexor, not necessary. So the bend in the knees is nice. All right, so let's go ahead and take our arms out wide again. So palms face forward. And then we're gonna start to twist to the left. And then hinge forward at your waist. If you have a block handy here, you might want to slide it underneath that right hand. So coming into this open twist, shoulder blades stack on top of each other. So this should remind you of that Vashisthasana plank pose we did at the beginning. Good. Keep pressing to the inner edge of that left foot. It's going to want to roll off to the side. When we're deep, inhale. Full, complete exhale. Good, and then inhale, press into your feet, come up, full crescent pose. Nice. As you exhale, hands come to the mat, palms plant. Step to your chaturanga, your plank pose. Shift forward on toes, come to knees, lower. Chaturanga. Inhale into your low cobra. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, use your belly to help step that foot through. Walk it off to the left so you're not, I think I did the wrong foot. Go back. Sorry, lift your right leg up and then exhale, step that foot through. I almost twisted you to the same side twice. It would have ruined your weekend. Inhale, arms reach up. So crescent pose, and then find that little bend in that left knee if you don't have it already. Notice how that helps you to lengthen your tailbone down, get more space through the sides of your waist. And then if you want to straighten that leg any amount, you're welcome to. As you exhale, arms come by the side. Deep inhale. Exhale, twist. And you're welcome to just stay here like this. Otherwise, you start to hinge forward, pressing that left palm into a block or the floor, shoulder over wrist, and then shoulders stack on top of each other. So sometimes we start to lean this top arm back a lot. That's happening. It's not wrong, but just see if you can stack shoulders on top of each other instead. Roll to the inner edge of the right foot, so you're squeezing that outer hip in. Nice, and then maybe you're looking forward or starting to gaze up at your fingertips. Nice adjustments. Good. Nice deep inhale, and then a full complete exhale. And then as you inhale, you make your way back into your crescent pose, perhaps pressing palms up overhead, gazing up. Good. As you exhale, bring fingertips to the floor, step your left foot to meet your right foot, the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your hearts. All right, inhale, arms reach. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward. This time, bend both knees, plant your palms. Right foot way back, then left foot way back. All right, so shift forward here on your toes, come to knees, elbows bend, hover at halfway, maybe you're a little higher than halfway, onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. And then exhale, we're gonna press to our tabletop. We're just gonna stay here. So find that alignment. So we're gonna visit that Vashisthasana again, but we're gonna do it with a little twist this time. Not literally a twist, but you'll see. All right, so shoulders are over, wrists, fingers are spreading, pressing evenly. You're gonna keep your gaze slightly forward. Reach those right toes back. So firm that thigh up. So it's kind of fun visiting these poses again. They usually feel a little easier the second time we know where we're going. We begin to roll to the inner edge of that right foot, and then maybe you start to melt the back edge of the foot into the mat. So it's like you're standing on that foot. And then we start to open up here. Lengthening through the right side of the waist. It's like your body's a parallelogram. Shoulders stacking on top of each other. And then I really want you to start to firm your left shin down into the mat. So you're activating that leg a lot. And then maybe you play with lifting that right leg up. So you really have to lift from the inseam, keep your toes active. They're pointing forward, huge balance pose, a lot of strength. This is kind of like a modified Ardha Chandrasana. Nice work. If you fall out, no big deal. It's not far to the floor. You're like, what is happening to me? Go ahead and exhale, release the leg down, unwind. Great job. A couple rounds of cat-cow, just let that go. Next inhale, come back to neutral spine. Find your setup here. Good, so gaze slightly forward initially for the setup is gonna help. Reach those left toes back, firm up that thigh. That leg is so active. Roll to the inner edge of the foot. So again, left toes are intersecting that arch. It's like doing a warrior two pose or a triangle pose. Maybe start to seal into the back edge of the foot. And then we start to open up here. We're finding all of this length through the left side. Shoulder blades stack on top of each other. We've been in this configuration many times already. And then start to press into the top of that right foot. Firm that shin into the ground. I think that helps a little bit with the balance. Pull your belly in and up. And then use your breath to help lift that left leg. You might feel a little grip on the outer hip here. Toes are pointing forward. One side's always harder than the other. Ah, good work. It's no big deal if you fall out, you just fall back in. One more deep inhale, stretch out. How much space can you take up? And then exhale, go ahead and unwind. Couple rounds of cat-cow. Ha, maybe laugh. That particular torture is over. It's a good kind of torture. All right, walk your hands forward a couple of inches. The next time you inhale, back up to your tabletop. Curl your toes under. Downward facing dog. And then we're gonna inhale, a little bend in our knees, come to our tippy toes. End of your exhale, you can walk feet through or step right foot then left. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So grab a block. You may or may not need it. Just come to standing at the top of your mat. Just have that block in front of you. All right. So finding your nice Tadasana. Arches lifting, tailbone reaching down, extending down, sternum reaching up. This openness across your heart and chest. Feel your lower belly pull in and up. All right, so we're gonna press into our left foot here. Take your right foot off to the side. Keep squeezing this left hip in. And then we're gonna wrap this right thigh over our left side. So this is a beautiful place to use a block. If this eagle pose is a little more challenging for you, the block underneath your toes is wonderful. And then we're gonna go ahead and sit down as though we're coming into a one-legged chair. As you do that, squeeze the outer hips, the inner thighs in a little more. You might be able to do it without the block. You might be able to wrap your toes around your foot. They're all really good. So sinking in, make sure that you don't have the death grip in those left toes. Take your arms out wide. Good, and we're gonna take our right arm under. So giving yourself a hug, elbows lift. Maybe backs of the hands come together, maybe palms plant. Same actions apply though. Elbows lift, shoulder blades release down. You sink in. And then from here, start to hinge forward at your waist if you would like. So you come into that crouching version. Yeah. Breath smooth and steady. Trying to keep both hips facing pretty neutral, the same direction. That right hip's probably wanting to drag forward a little bit. So you just kind of draw it back. Couple more breaths here. Good. As you inhale, that wasn't a couple breaths, that was like one. Go ahead and come on up, and then you can fly it all away. Ooh, nice, Tanya. And then we're gonna come into that second side. So if the block was helpful, I think it's just nice to use it sometimes. Just kind of move it off to the other side. Root into your right foot. Imagine that you've got roots reaching deep into the earth. All right, and then we're gonna step this left leg off to the side, and we're gonna wrap it around. So it doesn't matter where you're going, what version is happening. Notice how this left hip wants to draw forward, draw it back. But really important here, squeezing outer hips in towards each other and squeezing inner thighs in towards each other. So there's a lot of leg work in this pose. And we're gonna start to sit down, so that one-legged chair, arms come out wide, and then the left arm is gonna come underneath. And so again, maybe holding That's good. Getting a fantastic stretch here as your elbows lift up towards the ceiling, but keep directing your tailbone down. And then maybe you start to hinge forward, fold in. Gaze soft and gentle in front of you. That drishti is going to help with the balance. Squeezing the legs a lot, pulling the belly in and up is going to help with the balance. Breathing is going to help with the balance. Worst case scenario, you fall out. No big deal. Beautiful, beautiful focus. So these standing balancing poses, so good for that focus. You're rocking it, Dad. All right, as you inhale, start to make your way out and then fly your bird away. The little bird and back, true to eagle form, almost fell out of the eagle nest. Eagle babies are notoriously bad flyers starting out. Okay, so let's go ahead and come to seated. Sitting on a blanket can be really nice, especially if you know you're tighter in hips, hip flexors, pelvic girdle, blanket. Sitting up on something is just going to give you a little lift in height. And then maybe have your other props available too. So some blocks could be really nice here. And we are going to cross our right shin in front of our left shin. And we're trying to cross in the center. If you're a little tighter, your cross is going to be a little bit wider, and that's absolutely fine. So Tanya, I don't know if you do fire log pose. You can actually stack your shins on top of each other if that feels okay. You're a little more flexible. Otherwise, they're both really good. Just shins crossed in front. So rooting down into your sit bones here. Inhale, find lots of length, stretch your arms up. And then as we exhale, we're gonna hinge forward. We're trying to keep our spine nice and long. So we're coming into this deep forward fold. You're gonna start to feel this stretch in the hip. So this is a little deeper than the version that we did starting out. So blocks can be really nice. They bring the floor a little bit closer. If you're a little more flexible, the block becomes a place for you to rest your forehead. And then start to slow down your breath. So maybe inhaling to the count of 7 or 8, and you can kind of start to let go of that ujjayi breath. Then you're exhaling to that same count, 7 or 8. And an interesting thing starts to happen when we come into these static poses that are intense. All of the chatter starts to kick up. Listen to your breath instead. Get curious about the sensations happening in your body, intense though they may be. Maybe you need to back out of the pose a bit. That's a wise, smart decision to make. I think sometimes in these seated, stretchy, hip opening poses, we can kind of start to beat ourselves up a little bit. Why isn't this getting easier? I've been doing this so long. When am I ever going to get it? Let all of that go. So even if you're pretty upright, if you're feeling a stretch, that's all you need. And you can trust that flexibility is being built. Sometimes it doesn't happen as fast as we want to, but it's happening. I think yoga is such a good practice in patience, which transfers well to life, which is also a practice in patience. And we usually want what we want when we want it. From here, let's find just a little twist in our body. So if you have your hands on the blocks, you're gonna just start to walk them off to the right. So you're kind of leaning your torso out over that right thigh, and then wrap those left ribs down. I think it feels really nice on that left side. Good. Start to walk back to center. And then roll on up. Extend legs, give them a little shake. And then we take the opposite side. So left shin crosses in front. And right away, you're going to be able to tell, ooh, this side already feels tighter. This feels a little easier. That is definitely very common in these hip stretchers. There's one side that's always noticeably different. All right, so you're rooting into your sit bones. As you ground there, it helps you to find length through the sides of your waist. Stretch your arms up as you inhale. And we want to hold on to all of this length as we start to fold in. So that means the point you start to round in to go deeper, move the opposite direction. Think cobra pose in your upper body. Move props closer to you if you need. And then also, I think the other thing that's helpful about these poses, sometimes we just try to go for it right at the beginning. We want to hit the top of the pose. Maybe, because we're here for a minute or so, take your time getting in. So it's this incremental movement forward and deeper. And you're listening to that breath. You're smiling at the thoughts that might be kicking up in the head. You're welcoming them. And then find that little twist. So start to walk your hands off to the left. Begin to wrap those right ribs towards that left thigh. So little twist, little lateral stretch, which feels really lovely. Good, walk back to center. And then inhale, roll on up, extend legs to straight. One final little forward fold here. So extending legs to straight. Feet hips distance apart is nice if you're a little tighter in your hips and hamstrings. You can always take a little bend in your knees too. This is a great place to use a strap around your feet. And then we just start to fold in. So you can reach your arms up overhead to help you find that length. And then you're thinking forward momentum here. So you're lengthening through the spine and then lowering in any amount. So Paschimottanasana, oh, intense back body stretch. Took me a long time to appreciate this pose. Just because you appreciate something doesn't mean you're a fan. All right, as you inhale, start to roll on up and you're gonna make your way onto your back. So we're setting up for our Shavasana. So when you get onto your back, go ahead and hug your knees into your chest, rock a little bit from side to side. And then you can come into classic Shavasana here. So if lower back feels good, taking the legs out wide and extended straight, terrific. If there's a little sensation in your lower back, you might want to grab some blocks or a blanket rolled up underneath your knees, or you can also simply bend your knees, take your feet as wide as the mat, and then allow your knees to knock in towards each other. So the same way that we started. And then take a couple of inhales through your nose and then exhales through your mouth. Release any tension. So feel the bones get heavy. Feel the skin melt off the bones. The muscles melt off the bones. So it's like you're spreading out in a warm pan, like butter in a pan. And then give yourself permission to be quiet and to soak up these final moments in your Shavasana. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. And then begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe stretch your arms up overhead. So you're bringing some gentle movement back to your body, bringing your awareness back to your body. Good, and then staying soft and quiet, you're gonna roll to one side or the other, just finding the fetal position. And then you're gonna use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. So eyes still closed, gaze inward. And you're checking in, you're noticing how you feel differently here. So a little bit of effort produces some pretty amazing results. Hopefully it feels like you're sitting taller, with a sense of ease in your spine. The breath is steadier, richer, fuller. Maybe the headspace is quieted down a little bit. You're feeling more focused, a little joyful. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard. Send your body love and gratitude. Just promise yourself you're going to carry some of this feeling with you into the rest of the day ahead. Palms come together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work. Thank you.